When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no greater power anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. It is we who plowed the prairies, built the cities where they trade, dug the mines and built the workshops, endless miles of railroad laid. Now we stand outcast and starving midst the wonders we have made. But the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever.
The facts, dates, and events presented in this video are from the members' best recollection and may not be fully accurate. This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local union about your rights and duties at your workplace. The opinions shared on this video are our own and do not necessarily represent my employer's positions, strategies, or opinions. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act.
Hey, brothers and sisters, welcome to another episode of the Biweekly Grievance. We have a special guest this week, Maini from Local 251, business agent. One of the more passionate Teamsters that I've come in contact with. Is a fantastic representation of our union. And without further ado, Matt, if you could just give us a quick bio of yourself, years of service, job you had prior to coming to the union.
I've been a 30-year member. I came out of UPS. I drove there for 21 years until I got elected. Now I'm a business agent for Teamsters Local 251. I'm also the Eastern Tank Hall rep for Tank Hall Division, and I'm also a trustee on our Health and Welfare Fund. Busy
man. So first time I met Matt was on the strike line for the DHL down in Pawtucket, a grueling 8-month strike that nobody thought was going to last that long, but those members stood strong and ended up with a really good contract, and I think they're very happy with what they got out of it.
Oh, yeah, they did fantastic. They ended up getting Legion Care Healthcare through the Teamsters, so it's exactly what they walked out for, and they ended up getting it, and it's a lot of happy people there now.
Yeah, prior to that, they were paying something like $300 a week for insurance or something, right?
Yeah, they're down to their copay is between $80 and $90 a week, but they get everything: hearing, dental, vision, everything, where Excellent. They didn't even have that before.
All right, so the reason why I asked Matt to join the show this week is if anybody's been paying attention, 2 college campuses right now are on fire. One down at Rutgers and the other one right here in our area in Rhode Island, the Rhode Island School of Design, or known as RISD. And Matt has been out there beating the drum. And when I say beating the drum, I mean literally like hundreds of people smashing objects together and making all kinds of racket. And I'm gonna turn it over to you. Give us a quick rundown of the people that you're representing in this strike, what the basic issues are, and just your overwhelming support that you received over this last week. I mean, it was absolutely energetic. For people to say that the labor movement and the Teamsters aren't back, they're not paying attention. Right.
So we represent the groundskeepers, custodians, and movers. Those are the guys that receive every freight or move anything around on the campus. There's about 64 of them in the unit. They're predominantly Portuguese and Latino. These workers make anywhere between $14 an hour and $16 an hour. We're fighting to increase their wages. Believe it or not, RISD does offer a very good healthcare plan, so the fight is primarily over wages. And that's where we're at. We've been on strike now for 2 weeks, picking lines up every day from 3 a.m. to 7 p.m. And these workers are incredible. And the student alliance, the student body itself is incredible. The student body has basically attached themselves to the union and has picked up our fight and stands along with the workers. They have boycotted classes. The faculty has walked out. Other unions on the job have walked out. So just an overwhelming presence of support and solidarity. And, I mean, you can see it. You saw it this week on the Facebook posts. It was just totally incredible. I think Friday we had almost 2,000 people on the block. They effectively shut down what is College Hill in Rhode Island, where RISD and Brown campus are joined. Just amazing. And that went on all day. It started around noon and finished around 7:30 p.m. Friday, and they were still going. So again, the students, the faculty, our rank and file, incredible. It's nothing like I've ever seen. It's a wake-up call to most unions in this country. It's a wake-up call to the labor movement in general to see the younger generation that gets the concept of what we're about, social economic justice for all, standing up, and we're about inclusion of all, whether you're brown, black, or white. We want to hear from you. We want to lift you and raise your wages up and put you into the middle class. And that's effectively what unions are about. And these students have picked up that message, and they're delivering it, and they're delivering it very powerfully. And it's just tremendous to watch. It's tremendous to watch.
Watching your lives this week on Facebook, you're like a kid in a candy store. I mean, you were absolutely in your glory. I mean, I could feel the goosebumps on my arms because of the excitement I was picking up to that video. You were panning around, showing the crowds, and then you got to the hill, and here comes 200-300 more people down the hill, beating on pots and pans, and it was an amazing sight. And what I think people need to also understand about that is this is a real glimpse into what August may turn into for the UPSers. I mean, this is a small scale, 64 members or so, and thousands of people showing up for support because the labor movement really is on a surge right now, and this younger generation is driving a lot of that. So you look at Rutgers, you look at your strike, and I can only imagine what it's going to look like when 350,000 Teamsters walk off the job August 1st. And, nobody's advocating a strike, but let's face it, what's going on right now in negotiations is absolutely terrible. And I don't see how we avoid a strike at this point. If you could just give me your thoughts based upon what your knowledge of the New England supplement negotiations. I heard on Tuesday or whatever, like they came in, started the meeting, 10 minutes later they went out and they just disappeared all day long, came back like 4:50 in the afternoon or something stupid like that and just left you hanging. And then Sean's announcement of postponing nationals. If you could just give us a little information on what your perspective is.
My perspective is that the leadership of Joint Council 10 and Tom Maury is incredible at the table. They have been instrumental. They're not backing down. They're not accepting any concessions. Our negotiators from every local, including yourself, your 404 local, doing a fantastic job. My perspective is that UPS is demanding concessions and trying to get more flexibility out of us when it's not possible. They're attempting to lower our way of life, and we're just not going to accept that. So inevitably, I do believe that we're going to be on strike. I do believe that this is going to end that way. The General President, Sean O'Brien, has made it very clear we are going to take them on. We are not going to accept any kind of concessions or any kind of anything that would lower our standard. There's only one place for us to go, and that is up. And between the IBT and the local joint councils, I really do believe that we're going to do okay, but it will end up in a strike. There's no doubt.
So, one of the terms that's been thrown around, and I've tried to explain it, but it might be good to hear that from a business agent. What exactly is cost-neutral negotiations? What is it that the company thinks they're going to get? If you could explain that a little bit.
Cost neutral would be like, flexibility, creating another tier, paying less in wages, or not giving or having a co-pay in your health care, et cetera. I mean, there's a lot of things that they want that they're not going to get, that are not practical or would ever be accepted by our rank and file. And as our joint council has very well put it, which is, the membership elected the delegates. The delegates came in and got rid of the 2/3 rule. It has to be a majority that passes it, and the majority would never accept this. The majority will never accept massive concessions when the company has made huge gains profit-wise, over $100 billion in the last, since the pandemic hit. They have grown over, 110,000 new jobs created. They're making more money than they have ever made, and yet they're coming to the table telling us they want concessions. And it's just not acceptable, because the people who make them the money are our drivers and our inside workers. They make them the money. We make the money. And without us, there is no UPS.
The stones on this company to come to the table with that kind of a language is just absurd. I had a discussion with a couple of members, and it's going to air next week. I did an interview with two guys that are non-UPSers, non-union, and actually have a bias against union. And I had a debate with them about our stance on the upcoming contract and the things we're fighting for. And in an attempt to try to win them over, because as you know, public support is going to be adamantly needed when we go on strike for this to be successful. And so you'll have to tune in to see if I convince these non-union biased union people to support our reason for a strike if need be. But getting back to the RISD stuff, where do you see this going? Like, how are negotiations going? Where is this moving towards? Do you think this is going to be a long, drawn-out strike, or do you think that the support that they've received this week sent a clear message to the college?
I believe the support that we got this week sent a very clear message to the college. In fact, so much so that the college wanted to have an emergency meeting with us, which we sat with them at the end of this week and met, and we're scheduled to meet again tomorrow. And I think the message to the college is that you should be ashamed of yourself as an educational institution, paying workers a poverty wage, paying workers in the middle of the highest inflation increase that we've ever seen. People can't support themselves on $15 an hour, but yet their president of their university is making $600,000 a year, lives in a mansion that's valued at $2.3 million off of Benefit Street in Providence, rent-free, receives multiple perks for the job where these workers are not getting anything. And it's very embarrassing for a university that has $660 million in an endowment fund, and they're not paying living wages to workers that deserve it. I mean, unions fight for living wages. Unions fight for respect and dignity on the job. And when you pay somebody a poverty wage, you're effectively telling that person, well, you're not that important to me, and I really don't care that you're living in poverty. And that's where we step in, and we absolutely advocate and fight for people to raise them up out of poverty and get them into the middle class, because that's what unions are. We raise people up to bring them into the middle class. And
so I have two.
What's so impressive here is the students, they get it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know?
That was a sight to see. So two things I want to finish up with. One is, like, in Massachusetts, and I know you're in Rhode Island, so I don't know if the term is down there as well, but like state jobs, they call prevailing wages, and a lot of the colleges are state run, so there's a certain minimum for prevailing wages at those types of jobs. Does RISD not fall underneath that, or do you have that in Rhode Island?
We do have that, but RISD's a private institution. It's not a state school. They're talking about a university that started out in 1767. They've been around for a long, long time. They're like a Brown University, a private Ivy League school. Much different. Up in your area would be like Harvard. Harvard went through the same struggles with their workers a few years back with Unite Here in the cafeteria. So this is not unique to universities, but what we're seeing more and more of is students understanding the message that unions bring and what we're fighting for. And I think what I see here in the younger population is we are not going to accept going without health care. We're not going to accept living on poverty wages. And it's not acceptable to charge a student $81,000 a year and then pay those workers that work on the university a poverty wage. And the students get that. And they've been tremendously supporting our message. They've walked out of classes, as I said. They've been dropping supplies off. We even had parents, because we scheduled that Friday rally this past Friday. It was parent weekend, and we had parents come down and walk that line with us because they paid the $81,000 bill, and they couldn't believe what they were paying their workers. It was totally outrageous. So the message of the union resonates amongst all, and I think going forward, this generation Z is getting it. They're understanding what our struggle is, and it's good because it's going to bring unions into the limelight. You see it at the other universities. It's not cool to ask somebody to pay $300 a week for health care and have an $8,000 deductible. That's not what living is all about.
No.
And every human being is entitled to medicine, whether you're rich, poor, you're entitled to it, and it needs to be talked about. And quite frankly, we're seeing more and more of it coming back that way, where people are saying these are human rights, and less that it's a privilege, and that's good.
Yep. So I have one final question, and I couldn't think of a better person to answer this question. Pretend I don't know anything about unions or the struggles, and pretend that you have 2 minutes to get my attention. Tell me why, as like a UPS Teamster, why I should care about a strike at a Rhode Island college. Like, you know, how is that important to all labor and unions across the board?
Well, any strike in the union world resonates throughout the rest of the union, meaning striking workers are the same, RISD workers are the same as a UPS worker and vice versa. Whatever happens to those workers at RISD will directly happen to you eventually. So the labor movement as a whole operates as one. An injury to one is an injury to all. We say that all the time. So the movement itself, any type of strike, is a reason that all unions get involved and say this directly affects us, and we need to raise these people up and raise their wages up, because if we don't, further down the road, it will affect us. And the other reason to join a union and be involved is because unions are the only way that you have a collective bargaining voice, and you're the equal when you're at the table with them. They have to deal with you. And the only way that can happen is through a union. You're protected by the NLA rights, okay? So the only people that can bring that to you is a union. So if you're not in a union, you'll hear me say it all the time. Join a union. And if you're going to join a union, you join the greatest union in the world, which is the Teamsters. The Teamsters have a long history of fighting and battling and winning battles and getting other unions involved. We've kind of become the wheel of the movement. And this directly affects the UPS contract, which is 360,000 employees. So if we lose this fight, being the largest collective bargaining agreement in North America, it will directly affect everybody else. Whether you're a Verizon worker, a RISD worker, it affects everybody. So the UPS fight is the real fight. It's where we need to be. We need to all be on the same page and ready to battle against corporate greed, because UPS, they're the mothership of corporate greed, and they are looking to destroy the union and make more profit for themselves.
Absolutely. And as Sean famously says in almost every one of his speeches, today may not be my fight, but tomorrow will be my fight. And it's important to support each other because, you know, as they say, together we bargain, divided we beg. So
That's right.
I appreciate your time, Matt. You're a passionate Teamster. I love talking with you always. And I appreciate your time. And if there's anything I can do for you down there, you let me know. You know, I'll be there. And solidarity forever.
Time at DHL for us, so I appreciate it, brother, and I look forward to talking to you and seeing you soon. And if you ever need anything from us, give me a call.
Absolutely, brother. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Hey, brothers and sisters, just want to wrap this up with some announcements. 105 days left till the UPS contract expires, and brothers and sisters, get ready, because after this week's revelations and last week's, you need to be prepared, because good likelihood we're going on strike unless something drastically changes. So please get yourself ready. Only 15 weeks left in the contract, about 12 weeks of that to negotiate the contract. And that leaves a couple of weeks to get it out to the members to be voted on prior to the August 1st expiration. Or I should say July 31st expiration. Also, guys, for those of you that are still looking for ways to get involved in this fight, they're going to be doing contract action training at locals all over the country over the coming weeks. In particular, for now, I'm just going to go through the May 7th ones. So on April 23rd, Newark, New Jersey, local 177. Atlanta, Georgia, local 728. Louisville, Kentucky, local 89. Columbus, Ohio, local 413. Colfax, New Jersey, local 391. All have trainings for you guys to attend. April 30th, Las Vegas, local 631. Dallas, Texas, local 745. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, local 776. All on April 30th. On May 7th, Indianapolis, Indiana, local 135. Blaine, Minnesota, local 120. Oakland, California, local 853. And New Orleans, Louisiana, local 270 are all on May 7th. Guys, this is the best way if you're uncomfortable doing your own actions or and you'd rather work as a team. I highly encourage you to go to these trainings, work with your comrades. Solidarity forever, guys. I appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Please share the show with your friends, and please subscribe on YouTube. And we'll see you guys later. Solidarity forever, brothers and sisters.